Good evening, welcome back. So tonight we are going to start this Fender Super 60 project. Not sure what year it is. We'll figure that out when I get a chassis out of it, but this is an absolute basket case. It needs both the input jacks replaced on it. Well, it really doesn't need this one, but I like to do both of them when I'm doing it, just like I did on a Princeton. It's missing, I think 3 out of 5 tubes, or 2 out of 5, I can't remember. We'll find that out when we get this apart, but they did some crazy stuff to the speaker wire to try to run an extension cabinet, so we're going to refurbish this one and get it nicer than original. So let's go ahead and jump into this, get this apart. This will be my last used amp that I do, and this is the whole reason right here, because everything on it is nasty, and they look pretty good when I'm done with them because they look vintage, and they are vintage, but I want to do all brand new stuff from now on. So, and if I don't feel like changing the speakers, I don't have to, but I may end up still doing that because that's part of modifying them. So I'll re-Tolex them and change the speakers out, stuff like that. Some of them are so nice though, as far as what comes in them. You really don't even need to change them. And it all depends on what you're getting too. These come apart fairly quick. Covering them's a different story. So on the Super Champ, on the wood that goes all the way down on that one, see how they stopped the material here? I covered all sides of it, so when you looked into the back, here, let me show you. So when you look into the back of it, everything is finished. So there's no raw wood sticking out anywhere. And this is the one that I put the cream back in it, so you guys can check that out on my Reverb. But until then, we're going to go ahead and get this one done. This smells like it sat in somebody's basement for quite a while. It smells musty. The listing that I purchased this from said that it had sat for more than a decade. I don't know where the other screw went. Find it later. So anyways, this supposedly had sat for more than 10 years, so we're gonna have to see if it's worth saving or not, because there was no way to test it, obviously, with missing tubes and speaker not hooked up. And there goes that one. I got screws in the side. Oh, this should be coming out now. Wow. Well, normally when you take the chassis screws out, the chassis comes out. And it's missing 2 tubes, not 3. It has 3 out of 5, and it's missing 2. I knew it was one or the other. I just can't figure out why. Oh, duh, look at this. This is a first. I've never seen this yet. 3 screws up here on a lip. All the other ones, they usually have the top ones and then maybe one on the side, but this one here has 3 in the back of the top. So let's see if we can get this thing out. And this thing weighs a ton, and this is why. Look at the size of these transformers. I mean, those are massive. So what did they do here? Oh, okay. I was thinking that was the speaker wire for a second, but dummy me forgot to disconnect the reverb tank. Oh well. No harm, no foul. Guess I should get it off of them knobs there. So this is a printed circuit board. Man, this sucker is heavy. Let's see if I can see a date. So this is what the inside of it looks like. I don't see anything that looks burnt. So I imagine it's probably okay. And they probably have the date printed on the other side, because I don't see it. There's the Fender logo. There's a PN number for the front board. Another Fender logo there on the main board. But I do not see a date. And now I do see something. That does not look good right there and right there. So this circuit board is probably burnt. So this might be a real good project to take to a guy that Dan knows from Lay's, and he'll take the circuit boards out of this, and then he'll put a board in there and hand wire it all, so it's all point to point. So maybe that's what we do with this one, since I can tell right now that this circuit board is probably trash, because you can see how dark that is there, and there, and this whole spot here is pretty hot. There is a resistor underneath there, so it could just be from the resistor. I guess what we should do is get some tubes for this. Grab a couple tubes and power it up, not in the chassis, to see if it works. But I tell you what, man, this thing is just super heavy. Look at the size of those. I thought it was just the speaker, because it's got a really meaty speaker in it as well. And I got the power cord wrapped around my foot. All right, let's go ahead and finish taking this apart. This one is absolutely going to need new feet. I cannot get away with reusing these feet. Look at that. I might as well just buy all new hardware for it and be done with it. Make this one really super nice. Get that point-to-point wired. This might even be a good one to do the clear lacquer over top of cloth as well. So maybe we might take this one to the extreme. Oh, I got another screw in the side here. Duh. And another one on the floor. Boy, I'm not doing good tonight, am I? I think I got 2 or 3 screws to find. I gotta pick up that mounting plate for the chassis. All right, yeah, look at those. Those are just disgusting. So maybe I definitely overspent too much on this one. I can't remember exactly what I paid for it right off of hand, but it was quite a bit. I'll dwell on that later. Let's finish getting this apart. It does have a Fender 12 musical instrument in it, which I'm pretty sure these are Emerences. Just barely got that. I'm gonna have to get a shorter bit for when I do those ones. So let's see what we got here. Very dusty, very dirty Fender Musical Instrument 12. So I'll grab the multimeter and we'll see if we can get any ohms readings out of that. And if we do, we'll know it's good. And of course I'll re-Tolek or re-grill cloth that, as I do with every other one. And if we're gonna go super nutty fruitcake with this one, basically the only thing we're saving here is the chassis, the knobs, switches, and the cabinet. Gonna have to buy all new feet, corner, handle, reverb tank. Why reverb tank? And this one probably works because I'm trying to make it brand new condition again. So we'll grab a new reverb tank, standard 3-spring, just like all the other ones I've pulled apart. And all the feet stayed stuck down here. At least a couple of them did. Yeah, they're not going to stay there, but anyhow, do have all the feet. So I guess I'll take this to the shop and strip it down there and recover it, and I'll do a time lapse of getting that recovered. But let's take another look at this thing, see if we can spot any dates on it. I mean, I've looked on it pretty good. I gotta go the other way here. So usually by the Fender emblem, it will have a date. And here's the other Fender emblem right there. I can't even speak. So yeah, I'm not sure what year it is. And all these ribbons are looking pretty whooped. Oh, go the other way again here. I don't know if you can see the wrinkling in it. They should be real nice and flat. And it looks like this thing has definitely been overheated over the years. And again, this could just be, there's a resistor under there. Those ceramic resistors get really hot. And this is an older amp, so let's see if you can see something on the back here. Let's flip this up. I'll watch those tubes. I don't want to break those. And I'll be buying 5 instead of 3 or 2. So yeah, I don't see any date on it. There's a serial number. Maybe I could run the serial number. It says USA there, but yeah, I don't see any date. So if it doesn't work, I'll throw a couple tubes in it and we'll bench test it. And if it doesn't work, we'll go ahead and dissect it, because it's not going to hurt nothing, right? If it doesn't work. And that will make it easier for the other guy to do all the point-to-point wiring. I can just put all this in a box and I don't know. So we'll see if it works. And if it doesn't work, well, absolutely, this would be a perfect candidate for that, because Dan and I were talking about doing it to the Super Champ. And the more I got thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, it's just a little Chinese amp. I'll cover it, put a really nice cream back in it. The thing sounds amazing. It looks amazing. So this is an American-made one, and it's vintage. So maybe we'll do the point-to-point wiring on it, because, I mean, look at the size of those friggin' power conductors, things on it. Transformers, whatever you want to call them. I mean, those are massive. No wonder this amp is so heavy. Between these two things and that speaker, that weighs just about as much as that 15-inch bass amp does. We'll go ahead and throw the ohms meter on here and see if this reads anything. If it doesn't read anything, it's cooked, and that's why they disconnected it and ran an extension cabinet. Let's see, positive is on the right. At some point they had stuff soldered to it. Kind of all over the board. Yeah, it can't be 95, 96. It's fluctuating way too much. This speaker's probably cooked, because it should be reading, you know, somewhere between 6 and 8 ohms maybe. Yeah, let's see what the sticker says. It says 8 ohms, so there is absolutely no way. I mean, I could be wrong, but I've never seen a speaker fluctuate like that. Let me get back on here again. Now we got 9 ohms, so very strange. I went to different terminals. These terminals down here have some solder on them, so I wonder if that had anything to do with it. Let me test it again. 8.8. So yeah, speaker's good. That's a positive. So I'll get this cleaned up and put it up for sale. So if anybody I will hook it up to something and play something through it, but after I get it all dusted off and cleaned off, stuff like that. But I'll throw that up on Reverb. Somebody has a vintage Fender amp that they need a musical instrument 12 to put back in it to keep it original. This will be up for sale on Reverb as soon as I get it cleaned up and do a sound test on it. But till then, you guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned, because next video, take the cabinet and little pieces up to the shop, get them stripped down, recover it. I think this one, we're just going to go nutty fruitcake. I'm going to take this one down to Dan, and I'm going to have him clear coat it over top of the cloth. So I'll have to decide what cloth I'm going to use on this kind of particular job with the clear over the cloth. We're going to have to use a really thin one. So the stuff that I've been using on the amplifiers that's really plush and designer, not going to be able to use that stuff. I'll still be able to get a cool design on it, but it's going to have to be paper thin. So this is going to get clear coated over cloth, point to point wiring in it, and a badass speaker, new reverb tank, all new feet, corners, grill cloth, and this will be one badass Super 60. I promise you that. So stay tuned and don't forget to like and subscribe.